This is IED 132, the Trammel toy base plate. We're going to do the top part first, which is the part that has the square, this rectangular notch, and the 9 holes in it. There are a couple different ways to do this. We could do this all with one sketch and one extrusion, but for simplicity of being able to see where everything goes, we're going to break it down into some different sketches, so it's a little easier to find the locations of these things. It gets a little messy if we did it all in one sketch for new people at CAD drawing, so let's just do it a little simpler in a multi-step fashion. So let's go into Fusion's 360. We want to be in our Trammel toy folder, and we are going to save this file right off the bat as base plate, and we will use that throughout the process here of making both the top plate and the bottom plate. We'll make them all in one, so it'll be a little easier to do that. All right, so we've got our base plate saved, and we are going to, I'm going to go ahead and close my data panel here, so I have a full screen to work with. I want to make sure that I am in inches, and I am, so that's good. If not, click on the change active units and change it to inches. And I'm going to start off by creating a box. I'm going to create it on the XZ plane, which is the top view plane. And I'm going to drag it up and to the left 4.25. Okay. 4 point, gosh, I'm having a hard time here. 25, tab 4.25. I'll hit that, and I'm going to extrude it upward 0.24 inches, and I'll click OK. So now we're going to create a square in this area and a notch over here. So if I look back at my instructions here, I've got a square here and a notch here. I'm going to go down here where I can see these. The square, if I look at this, if I were to highlight this, is 1.25. If we look here, it is 1.25 by 1.25. So let's go ahead and create that square in Fusion. So I'm going to create a new sketch on top of this, and I'm going to create a square starting here in the near the origin and slightly up, and drag it up and to the right 1.25, 1.25, tab 1.25, and I'll hit enter to place that. Notice that it is blue. That means it's not constrained. I can move this around on the screen. If I were to click on this, I can move it anywhere. So I want to get it constrained by locking in the right side, the left side here and the bottom side in relation to the left of the large square and the bottom of the large square. And if I look down here, it says both of these dimensions are 0.406 from the left to the right and the top bottom to the bottom. So I'm sorry, the left side of the large square to the left side of the small square, and the bottom of the large square to the bottom of the small square. So 4.06 right here is what I'm looking at. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to move these two dimensions inside of the box by clicking on them and just dragging them up in here. It gets a little cluttered. It helps us out so we can see where everything is. I'm going to go get my sketch dimension tool, and I'm going to click on the bottom of the large square and the bottom of the small square, and come over here, and I'm going to type in 0.406, hit enter. I'm going to do the same thing on the left side, left side of the small square, come down here, again, 0.406, hit enter. That locks those two in place, that square in place. It can no longer be moved. So that's how we want that. Next, it says we're going to do this little notch up here. To do this notch, the notch itself is 1.75 inches in width, but we don't actually know this dimension here for the height of this. But I can figure that out. If I look over here, it says to the bottom edge of this, it's 3.25, and to the top edge of this, it's 3.75. So the difference between those two, 3.75 minus 3.25, is 1/2 of an inch. So my actual notch is 1.75 in width and 0.5 inches in height. So I'll go ahead and go in and I'll create that notch. I'm going to click on my rectangle tool. I'm going to come over here to the right side, and I want that X to snap onto that line. That way it will connect this rectangle that I'm going to create to that line, and that's where I want that to be. So I'm going to click anywhere along here, drag back and down to the left, type in 1.75 for that width and 0.5 for that height, and hit enter. Now again, as I look at things, it's not constrained completely because I have two blue lines here, which means I can actually move this up and down. I can't move it left to right because I clicked while the X was on this line, so it's connected this coincidentally, it's called a coincidence constraint, to this right side. So that's locked in place. So what I need to do is look at my instructions here, and it says, hey, from the bottom of the large square to the bottom of the notch, it is 3.25 inches. So I'm going to use my sketch dimension tool and go to the bottom of the large square and then to the bottom of my small square and drag out here to the right and type in 3.25. At that point, I have located my notch and my square. Since for simplicity's sake, so we don't get all of these dimensions crowded all over this initial sketch, we're going to go ahead and finish the sketch, and let's just go ahead and extrude those two notch and square out as cuts by dragging them down. So we get the cut command, and I'm going to tell it for a distance of all, which means it's going to go the whole way through this surface to create the notch and the square. So we have two of the items done. So let's go in again and let's create another sketch again on this top surface. And now we're going to create these 4 circles up here. And to do that, we're just going to go ahead and randomly put 4 square circles on here, and we can dimension them as we go. So we've got a 0.23, and then a 0.177, another 0.177, and a 0.191. So let's go ahead and create these 4 circles. First one is up here in the upper left corner. It is 0.23 inches. I will put that one in place. It's right there. I can drag that dimension up there if I want, so it's off the surface here so we can see. I'm going to do another circle somewhere in this area. This one is 0.177. Again, I can drag that dimension up here so it's out of the way. I need another circle over here. Again, it is the same as that one before, 0.177. So these two right here are the same in size. Drag that dimension down here so it's out of the way, and I've got one more to put in place. It's over in this area right here, and this one is 0.191. It is a little different than the others. It's 0.191. It sits right there, and if I go back just to double check my dimensions, 0.23, 1.177, 0.177, and 0.191. That's where I got those dimensions from for these 4 circles, and they are now properly sized. However, they can all be moved around. So if I look at the plan, it shows that these are directly above each other, and directly side to side from each other. So that means they are constrained or locked horizontally, which is side to side, and vertically, which is up and down. So we're going to use the horizontal and vertical constraint tool, which is this right here, and we're going to click on the center of the top left circle and the circle to the right of it, and you now see that they are horizontally constrained because of that that image or that icon that we have right here tells us that these two are horizontally constrained. That means that if I were to take and move these, they're going to move up and down together, but they can still move left and right independently. So I'm going to continue to horizontally and vertically constrain these. I'm going to horizontally constrain the bottom 2 circles. Oh, notice it went and jumped and snapped these 2 together. So it made a vertical one, which is the up and down one. So it automatically connected those. So I'm going to then connect these 2 by clicking on these 2. And then I'm going to connect these two over here on the right side. Again, clicking on them, and I should have horizontal and vertical constraints on all of them. And I know that I will have that if I press escape a couple times to get out of the command. If I grab the center of one circle and start to move them, notice how the two that are perpendicular and horizontal to these are connected and move. I can do the same thing over here. Those are connected together and they move together, as do these guys here. So it doesn't matter which one I'm moving the two that are horizontally and vertically connected to those. All right, so that's good. So we've got those connected. So now all we need to do is tell it where do we want them, because they're not fully constrained yet. They still move around. So where do we want to locate the center points of these? So if I go back to my instructions, it says, if I look at this, that the bottom circles are 2.75 inches off the bottom of the large square. 2.75. And the top circles are 3.875 inches off the bottom of the large square. So I'll go back over. I'll get my sketch dimension tool. I'll start down here at the bottom. Go to the center point of one of these two circles, doesn't matter, preferably the left one, it's a little easier. Drag it out here, and it is 2.75 inches away from the bottom. 2.75. 3.875 for the second set. So again, I'll go to the bottom here, click on the second set of circles. Sketch tool, or sketch dimensions, bottom, drag out here, and again, 3.875. I'll enter that. Now my circles are locked. They can't go up and down. They can still go left and right, both sets of them, but they can't go up and down anymore because we've locked them horizontally with each other and we've given them a dimension. So the last thing we do for these four circles is we need to lock them so they cannot go left or right. Go back to our instructions. Up here at the top, it says the first one is 0.375 inches from the left side of the large square, and the second one is 1.5 inches from the left side of the second square. So let's go ahead and dimension those with our sketch dimension tool. I'm going to click on the left side of the large square and the center point of the first circle, and it is 0.375 inches away. And I'll do the same thing again, the left side of the large square and the center point of the left circle. It's not wanting to click, so I'll hit escape. I'll hit my sketch tool again and try it again. And why am I getting such a feisty thing here today? This doesn't make any sense. Let's click out here. Well, aren't you just a little pain in the bottom today? All right, that got it. I had to go up and hit on the corner. That didn't work. Let's undo that. Try it again. So I'll go from the corner here to the center of that circle. There, we got it. Oh, wants to go sideways on me for some reason. There, got it. 1.5 inches. All right. So that puts those in the proper locations. I'll hit escape a few times to get out of that command. And again, for simplicity's sake, because I don't want to see all these dimensions, notice it's getting crowded with dimensions already. I'm going to go ahead and finish this sketch. I'm going to hit on my home view, click on my home view here, and I'm going to extrude these 4 circles that I just created, and I'm going to make them cut for a distance of all the way through, and I'll click OK to that. And if I go back now and look at my top view of this, that's what it should look like. All right, so going to do another sketch. We're going to do the 4 circles down here. So click on my top view. Again, start a new sketch on my top view. So I've got another sketch started here. Sketch number 4 for me. I'm not sure what it will be for you, but it should be, it's 4 for me. Doesn't matter. I'm going to go down here to the bottom. Same thing. Look at that. It's a duplicate of this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at the locations, 0.23, 0.177, 0.177, and 0.191. Exact duplicate of that one above. So I could potentially mirror this or duplicate this if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and make these circles. Again, 0.23. Another circle that is 0.177. Another circle down here that is 0.177. And finally, the last circle over here that is 0.191. Same thing as before, I'm going to horizontally and vertically constrain these by clicking on the center points of the top two. They are now horizontally constrained. I'm going to click on the center point of the bottom two. They are now horizontally constrained. Yours may have jumped to a vertical. It's okay. I'm going to click on the center points of the left two. They're now vertically constrained, and the center points of the right two. And those two are now vertically constrained. Again, I can move them around in groups, but I don't want them to be able to be moved. That's why they're still blue. I want to lock them in place. To do that, I got to lock down the center points. So go back to my instructions, and it says on the bottom here, the bottom left one is 2.75 over from the left side, and the right bottom one is 3.875 over from the left side. Same as these dimensions we used over here, but we're using these two going across the bottom. So sketch dimension tool, origin over to the center point, bring it straight down, 2.75. Origin over to the second center point, bring it down, 3.875. Okay, those now are locked. They can no longer move left and right, but they can move up and down. Same for the ones above them because they are horizontal or vertically constrained together, but not horizontally constrained. Sorry, so they can move up and down. All right, let's dimension these going up now. Let's look again at our instructions. From the bottom to the first set of holes, 0.375, and to the second set of holes, 1.5. So let's go ahead and put those sketch dimensions in from the bottom to the first set of holes, 0.375. From the bottom to the second set of holes, 1.5. All right, so with that, those 4 holes are done. Now I could stop here and go ahead and extrude these and be done, but because I don't have too many dimensions on here, I can work one more set of dimensions in, and that last set of dimensions is for this last hole that's right here, and that last hole is 0.2 inches in diameter, and I can see that here on my instructions, 0.2 inches in diameter, and it is up 2.875 inches from the bottom to the center point. So let's go ahead and put that dimension in. Sketch dimension from the bottom to the center point, 2.875. Enter. Want to double check that, make sure that is the right dimension. 2.875 is correct. And it is 0.875 inches over from the right side this time. So this measurement's coming from the right side, 0.875. So I'm going to go over here, get my sketch tool. From the right side of the square, or the large square, to the center point, it is 0.875 inches over. Double check that, make sure that's right. It is. I have now successfully put all 9 holes in their places, or circles in their places. For these 5, I've got them ready to go. So I'm going to finish my sketch. I like to go to my home view here, click on my extrude tool. Click on the center points of the 5 circles we just did. Remember, don't get anything but those circles. Those are the only things we want. Going to drag that down through as I cut. Tell it for a distance of all. And I'm going to click OK. And at that point, if we look at our object, it is in good shape. All the holes are there. They go the whole way through. All the notches and the squares in place, we're good to go. So at that point, the top plate is done. So let's go ahead and save this, and I will create another video here that goes how to do the bottom portion of this base plate.